Hey guys, welcome back to another Easter egg video. We are into March and we're continuing with our Marvel theme. So this will be the last month for a little bit before I pause for the Marvel. I will keep up with anything current. Um, but we are covering Guardians of the Galaxy this weekend. So today is the first one, Guardians of the Galaxy, and tomorrow will be Guardians of the Galaxy 2. So we're gonna hit the Easter eggs in this film. We already covered the theory on Thursday, so you can go check out that video. And I hope you enjoy this. What is going on, guys? So if you notice from this first Easter egg, this will come in handy because in the second and hopefully the third film, it will say volume 1, 2, and 3. So the music does change it, and the cassette tape specifically references what movie it is from. So this one says volume 1. Now, we do go through the title sequence. We meet the Star-Lord. We see that he loves music, loves to dance. I mean, this scene really caught me, but there are some hidden Mickeys in the back. This one's hilarious. And then this guy shows up in a later movie. Well, it was a later release, but Captain Marvel, he shows up, and that is important because Captain Marvel is actually set before most of these movies. Captain America: The First Avenger is the first in the series because it starts in 1942, right? During World War II, but then it's Captain Marvel really sets off with the shield thing, and you'll hear more about this next week when I cover Captain Marvel, but I just want to make that clear that it is important to note. We also meet Gamora, Ronan, and Nebula, who do come up in other films. Both Gamora and Nebula end up being Guardians eventually, but Gamora first and then Nebula eventually. And I do have some theories on this in terms of their adoption because I am adopted and there's a lot of things around that. If you're interested in any of that content, I will probably put that on my other YouTube channel, Adoptee Healing and Resources. So if you're interested, check that out. But there's some interesting things at play and the characteristics of how they came to be and why their personalities are exactly the way that they are. This also goes for Thanos because he was also adopted, interestingly enough. So yeah, we are going to get into that later though. Now, as we know, Guardians of the Galaxy goes through the galaxy. So, of course, there are different galaxies, Xandar being one of them, Nova being one of them. There are so many, but it really just shows that there are different planets and galaxies out there. And the world is a lot bigger than just Earth. Now, if you know, this is my man Stan Lee, the creator of the MCU, the comic book creator, amazing guy. He actually got a second wind in his career by specifically making these cameos in the movies. And I want to do a book review later. I will probably do that soon. But he has a fantastic autobiography and he talks about this. It's really cool. Anyway, so here is his little cameo in, of course, Guardians of the Galaxy. So while all the action is happening and they're getting caught, this is Gamora, Rocket, Groot, and Peter. The star that it looks like is exactly like the Nova headquarters, the star. So kind of interesting foreshadowing. Just saying. I don't think it was done on. Well, I should say Marvel does things on purpose, but I think there wasn't exactly like a Easter egg to it. I just think it was a cool foreshadow just to explain. So, interestingly enough, the first few times I've actually watched Guardians of the Galaxy, I did not catch on to some things that they were talking about, specifically this one, where they were talking about the Celestials. Now, this comes into play both in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 as well as in the Eternals. The Celestials tried to kill Earth and other planets, And so they're learning that this planet that they are going to sell this thing, which ends up being the Soul Stone. Well, it was the head decapitation of a celestial, and that is important to note. They also took a lot of um, the usage out of it. They took the metal and all that, the resources from the head and all that, and I believe they mentioned it was vibranium, which is super important to note because that comes up in um, throughout the films, but specifically in Black Panther. We learn a lot more about what vibranium is and where it is located on Earth. So now in this scene, there are not only Hidden Mickey, if you can notice, this also talks about the different Infinity Stones. Now, at this point, when this was released, we did know about the Tesseract. We didn't exactly understand that it was an Infinity Stone up until this point, but it does kind of get explained. There is more complexity. Oh my god, I cannot speak today. Anyway, but there are other infinity stones, and that they are very powerful, and that really no human being can hold it, can touch it, without dying. Now, this is important to note because they don't want the infinity stones together. So when the Guardians find this and they find out what it does, they're like, oh snap, we have to give it to Nova and like stop the bad guys from getting it because of what it is capable of doing. Now we know later on in Infinity Wars and the Endgame, obviously Thanos gets it. Sorry if I'm giving that away for you. This is something that's been known to happen. But it is important to note that they do not want anyone else to get this stone. It is dangerous. It is very, very dangerous. We also find out that this is what the Celestials look like. Again, we find out more about them later on in the Eternals, but they were sent out to have the stones and basically destroy the planets. They are these gods, right? Um, and it's really interesting that they actually talk deeply about this in this particular scene. And I feel like nobody talks about that in terms of did anyone else catch on to this? Like when they first watched this, did anyone else catch on to this? Because I don't remember anyone talking about this back when this originally came out. Um, so if you did, good for you. I would love to hear more about what your thoughts were, and what your thoughts are now compared to now that Eternals came out. But I will say, MCU does a fantastic job of really linking things without us understanding that it was important to the timeline. They put a lot of importance in things, and we don't take it all in, and then we have to rewatch things over and over again. Genius, by the way. Um, and then we go in and we're like, oh my god, like I missed that scene. Exactly what I'm doing now, right? It was a big Easter egg. Huge, in fact. And then, without giving too much away, of course, Groot unfortunately sacrifices himself to save his friends. It's very sad, but this comes into play for Volume 2, which go check out the theory because this is quite interesting. But of course, we get Baby Groot, so, we love Baby Groot. It is what it is. It's accepted only because we love Baby Groot. Anywho, then we have this scene. This particular scene is really important because first Ronan is trying to get to the Soul Stone, and obviously we know that Ronan was originally working for Thanos, and then because he wanted the stone for himself and figured he could be more powerful and destroy Thanos, he turned on him. So one, that's important, but also we gotta note that Peter Quill was sacrificing himself at this point to hold that stone, the Infinity Stone, and he didn't die. Now, this comes into play in Volume 2. I'll get way more into it, but Peter Quill is not just human. He is half god. Now, we'll find out later more in Volume 2, so please go check out my Easter egg video tomorrow talking more about this. Well, that was fun, wasn't it? I honestly love Guardians of the Galaxy, both of them, and I can't wait for the third one. There's also a holiday special coming out in December of this year, 2022, so that's exciting. There is also the animated show, which is kind of cute. I haven't covered it yet on this channel, but I've watched a few episodes on my own. I did cover one episode, which was the Christmas special. You can check it out in my hidden holidays. Um, but let me know if you want some more of the animated shows. I haven't done an all lot on the shows yet. There's so much content for Disney and Pixar and Marvel, and I haven't even hit Star Wars yet, so that's gonna be fun. But yeah, so I honestly love Guardians. I think it's fun. I think it's jammin'. The music, kind of an odd placement, but really, really fun. But what are your thoughts? I love to hear from you guys, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for Guardians of the Galaxy 2.